Movies on video cassette.
Welcome to Strange Glow Video.
Guys, I'm eating junk and watching rubbish.
We're oozing with VHS, horror, nostalgia, and more.
New Better Block Glow in the Dark.
After it drops some videotape, you can get a glow-in-the-dark hand puppet from the movie Casper.
And now, your hosts, Alec, Justin, and Nick.
Hey, you're not allowed to rent here anymore. Yeah!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Strange Glow Video. I am Justin. With me as always is my co-host and sibling extraordinaire, Alec. What's up?
Not much. I'm here to review a movie. I hear that today we are reviewing Showgirls, so I'm stoked for that.
Yeah, I heard they redid that with All Men, and they still called it Showgirls. I think that's coming out next year. And again, that may be a porn parody that we've already watched.
I have definitely seen Show Cocks and Show Balls.
I started in both of those, so that's weird you've seen them, but okay.
So I just like to be supportive of my family. Their work.
Yeah, I'm their biggest fan.
I got the
good
one
stuff.
sheet from Show Balls hanging in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's looking at that. No, we're going to talk about a movie that made its debut in March of 2023 at South by Southwest, and it finally hit theaters in April. No, it actually came out in March. Came out right after Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And now it's on Shudder, so that's where I watched it. Streamed it online.
Same. I
As
was
much as
stoked.
I really wanted to support this movie in theaters, but with having 3 children and a busy fucking schedule, and having just gone to New York for the world premiere of Frozen Empire, it was like, wasn't trying to be an asshole and push my luck. Be like, I need more time away from the family to go see a movie. So, and if they played at the drive-in, I would have seen it there for sure, because I could take the wife and the youngest there to that. So,
Yeah, I didn't get to see it in the theater either, and I wanted to, but here we are.
Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah. My God, when I saw the trailers for this, I was like hyped. It looked very Evil Dead-ish to me, which was awesome. I didn't get that after I watched it very much, but I expected it to be like wackier and zanier and funnier and gorier, and it wasn't, but it was still great in its own right.
Yeah, my first thought was, the trailer looked epic. I was really excited to see this just from that. But when I watched it, it didn't do some of the things I thought it would, which is fine, because I really didn't have any expectation going into it besides the fact that I'd heard a general consensus of people say it was well done, it was fresh, it was something different. I'm like, okay. When you're talking horror, that's hard to do because, you name it and they beat the dead horse to death.
Yeah.
Again. So.
They kind of like Michael Ironside is doing voiceover at the beginning there. That's pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Documentary style. I love how they set up with that documentary style, like found footage almost. They're like, here you go. Here's just the backstory to get you started on it.
Things about old, like fucked up TV broadcasts really get me going. Like that thing in Nope about the chimp or whatever it is going crazy. Was it an ape? I don't fucking know.
I think it was a chimpanzee that went crazy at the beginning. Yeah.
Well, it goes at the beginning and then they show like the whole scene of it later. It's not like the broadcast version of it necessarily, but either way. Yeah, this was borderline like a found footage film in that sense, but it also is like, it's a full episode of a late night show that at the end of the late night show just goes fucking berserk.
Yeah. The thing that I thought was really clever about it was like they showed like the behind the scenes commercial break stuff, because obviously if you've ever seen any of that stuff, you've always seen like the host and the guest like talking. I was going to call them ghosts, guest and host. I guess that's a one way to put it. Chatting, and like you always see that conversation kind of wrap up before they make the mics hot again and everything else. So I appreciate that they showed behind the scenes and kind of incorporated all that.
Well, it gave you more information too. They got a lot of interesting things out during those scenes. I wasn't expecting the whole like dead wife plot because that's not in the trailers, which is good. But it's not in the trailers.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. They set that all up at the beginning for you, and then when they finally kick into the episode, it's like I'm hyped. I'm
Mhm.
like, my God, this is gonna be awesome. Like, I would watch this as a late night concept anyway. Like, late night shows, they sometimes do Halloween themed stuff, but they don't ever have like fucking mediums and possessed children come on their show, which would be fucking dope. If like, can you imagine if Conan did something like this? Like, I would
Mhm.
watch the shit out of it. I would watch it if Jimmy Fallon did it, and I don't like Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, I think he's way overrated.
I don't hate him, but I don't love him. I don't like
Yeah.
him.
I don't go out of my way to seek his content. I'll tell you that. Like if something's funny and someone's like, "Hey, check this out," and you see it's found, like, it's 50-50 chance it's worth watching. So one of my favorite things that they did in this whole fucking show was like all the little like art clips from coming back from commercial breaks and going to commercial breaks was fucking perfect for night owls. Holy shit. There's like just so much marketing for that, like t-shirts, pins, stickers, like everything you can imagine. I'm like,
Okay,
fuck yeah.
I have to interrupt you because I guarantee there's going to be some people in the audience wanting to stab you right now
Because the AI shit.
because that's what's AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
That right there, those cards right there, and potentially I heard some of the background, like just the colors, swirls, and stuff. But
Yep.
I think they could have just as easily hired an artist, and maybe they did hire an artist, and that artist used AI. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know the full story on that. We do know that it was a small budget film. This is filmed in Australia. I think the number one reason that at least has been leaked that they did some of the AI stuff was to save on budgets, right? So I can kind of see where they're coming from with that. They had their own concept idea for it, so it all kind of worked out. But a lot of that felt pretty authentic. And that's not to say they didn't like revise any of that or have an artist revise whatever AI came up with, right? AI may have made the concept and then maybe another artist went through and fine tuned it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's AI thing is annoying for sure. I wish it wasn't even part of this movie, but it's not going to make me hate the movie or anything or boycott it. But it does make me be like, damn it, why didn't you just not do that? But whatever.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting spot to be because I've been pretty anti AI for that because essentially you're going to be taking away a lot of credibility or anything to create art, right? And as an artist myself, occasionally, like that's a fucked up thing. Like art, what makes art is like that human emotional connection to it. So in this case, like, yeah, you could. I knew that they'd use the AI in this, right? That was one of the big controversies that kind of came out early on with some of the marketing push for this.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that took away from the movie because it wasn't people or scenarios necessarily. Like most of it was like still images in the background or some other things. Like if you got to a point where like, hey, we just use this person's likeness and did an AI movie, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking support that. Like I don't want to see that shit.
They've been doing lots of apparently Civil War did AI posters. There's been some movies that have done like AI for background crowd scenes and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
if you like zoom in, it just looks fucking wild.
Yeah.
It's weird shit. I'm not a fan, but whatever.
Yeah. And in the case of this movie, right, it's being torn between like, do you want to accept this or like, is this a way for independent filmmakers to have more options that would normally be out of their budget? Only time will tell, really. Like, we don't know how fucked up this whole thing can get. That said, David Dastmalchian and fucking awesome in this movie. Like, holy shit.
No, he's great. He does great. I mean, everybody that's really a prominent character does great. I really enjoyed Gus too.
Mm-hmm.
So the first guy that comes on, Christu, you know, you kind of get the sense that he's doing the typical cold reading stuff and that he's a fraud at first, and that's funny.
Yeah.
And then, you know, shit starts escalating a little bit here and there.
Uh-huh.
It almost seems like it might be part of the bit for a second.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, the skeptic comes out.
And he was great too.
Yeah. He's like like an ex-magician and type and stuff.
Yeah, he's a former con man, basically turned towards science and debunking all this shit, right? Interesting character. So I thought he was great.
No, he did great. Yeah, he's very entertaining, and it's like in reality, I'd for sure be on this man's side. So
absolutely.
now watching a horror movie, I know better. But the black vomit was interesting. Christu dies in the ambulance and stuff.
Yeah.
It gets wild. Like they bring the girl and who apparently he's having a relationship with, it seems on the side.
The doctor,
for sure. And it gets wild at first, she levitates, does the voice, physically transforms. It's pretty crazy. And then Carmichael is like, all right, now let's take let me demonstrate my hypnosis thing here. And that scene was so confusing watching it the first time around. You're like, what's the fuck is happening?
Yeah, that was fucking awesome though. I loved how he like hypnotized everybody. I thought that was really fucking cool. And the worm scenes is like super gross but super effective, right? I feel like
the practical effects and the mix of CGI in this solid as fuck.
So nice. Because you really feel like you're watching a 70s talk show set, right? Even like the shots to the audience like weren't as nice of chairs and shit as they use now. Like I think that was one of the things I enjoyed the most about, they consistently showed the audience and the same people are in the same spots, like they did a really good job of their continuity within the audience and having those people in there, and the Halloween parade that they were going to have set up for was really fucking cool.
Yeah, they captured 1977 really well as far as like what people really looked like and not like a caricature of 1977. Much the way like the first season of Stranger Things is really solid, like 80s, like it's actually there's lots of wood grain and panels, and it feels like a lived-in 80s house, and this kind of does that for the 70s talk show.
Yes, it's feels authentic, very authentic for the surrounding and the timepiece. And hell, I was even thinking Jack Delroy was like his character reminded me of like a 70s version of Conan O'Brien, right? A little more subdued, but and I would love to see, who David studied for the role, just because like some of the mannerisms like seemed like they might have been inspired by Conan, just like the way he kind of talked and some of the mannerisms and stuff. But that's also because I'm a huge Conan fan. Like I didn't get the Leno vibes from him or, Kimmel or anybody like that,
Oh yeah, Conan was also big into Letterman and Johnny Carson, so I'm sure there's a little bit of all of that in there.
Yeah, I think he probably researched them all, and I like how they just made him be the other TV's rival, and they really set the story up for it.
And then the like final scene that has a little bit more CGI with like the little girl's fucking head busting open. Gus's head turning around just straight up.
Yeah,
I didn't expect the doctor to die. Just like got her throat cut open by her own necklace and dumped on the ground. Yeah,
well, I loved how Jack was fucking tripping at the end, right? And you're like, is he there? Where's he at? Like, there's some ambiguity to it that really just fucking sold it.
Well, yeah, I really like the concept of like, you realize it's still a broadcast because it's in 4:3 still.
Yeah.
And that's what I really liked too, was that it was in 4:3 from almost the entire movie, except the black and white and like the documentary framing style stuff. So yeah, I just enjoyed all that. Yeah, like he said, he's tripping. This reminds me of 2001 meets like Twin Peaks and shit.
Yeah. And so this was written by a pair of brothers and directed by them, which to me is interesting. Like, it seems like there's a lot more people partnering up when they're writing and directing. It seems to be like a thing where like, yeah, you can have a team to make that shit work.
Right.
And it's just like seeing this, you're like, okay, what else have these guys done? And then now I'm automatically interested in whatever they're doing next, because like this is just a great movie all around, start to finish. And like I said, it doesn't seem like anything I've seen before.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to get one of those. A copy of the book Conversations with the Devil.
Uh-huh.
I want a copy of this on VHS,
Yeah. This movie is ripe for VHS release. I'm telling you that.
and I might have to get a Blu-ray.
Yeah, physical media for sure. So, I mean, I don't think there was a bad actor on there, right? Anyone that was like bad was written that way intentionally, right? You know, like the people in the audience, a few of them that had some of their speaking parts. Like it wasn't like it was bad. It was just like they did a good job acting like an audience member would act on
Yeah.
a real TV show.
Like an asshole.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm talking on TV. I'm so excited about it. Yeah.
Goofy.
Mm-hmm. I love the band banter though too, because that's such a fucking late night show thing, like where they gotta fuck with the band leader, band member. You know, that was so good.
Yeah.
The theremin, that was pretty cool. And then
Yeah,
how
the fact that it's a Halloween episode and he's dressed like, Gus is dressed like the fucking devil.
uh-huh.
All that shit is great. Until he's
Yeah.
spooked out, then he takes it off and he's just like, I'm not having this.
Yeah, he's like, we shouldn't be doing this. And like you have this voice of reason there, but everyone else is just like ignoring it. Like, nah, man, we need the ratings. So, which definitely seems like some shit that would happen even to this day. Like, now we need the ratings, so we're going to show it. Like, hello, 9/11. Remember anybody try and fight for ratings? Like, let's show you the most gory shit we can.
I kind of agree with that on this end, though. Like, if you're filming this, you may as well show it all because in reality, I don't believe in any of these things. So I'd be like, just show it. Fuck it. Otherwise, it's good TV until like Chris Stew died and shit. Then I'd be like, all right, maybe this is a little fucked up.
Yeah, I loved how they were trying to hide his death from everyone too. Like, because he was an interesting character, right? You could kind of tell he played that traditional bullshit artist, and just like that type of character. But he did it so well. Like it just feels genuine start to finish, and then like they added this element to it that's so fucking fun. Yeah. I haven't had that much fun watching a horror movie in a while. It's seriously been a minute where I'm just like, okay, didn't know what to expect. Had low expectation just because I didn't know like what I was getting into.
Right. It was ending like basically what happens. He like ends in that room with his wife
Mm-hmm.
and stabs her and then wakes up and he's stabbing the little girl and everybody else is dead around him. He just kind of freaks out and the camera backs out.
Yeah.
And it's like end transmission.
Yep. Yeah. So the ambiguity of that ending is beautiful because you're like, okay, so did he just go nuts at the end and fucking kill everybody? Or was he hypnotized too? Like, you don't know. And it doesn't even matter. It's just like, what the fuck?
Well, because that's what he's saying as it backs up. He's saying like dream or awake, I think is what he's saying, because that's what the guy said to Gus.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like saying that to himself because he doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't know if he's hypnotized.
Yeah. Yeah, and his wife's role in there was great too. Like they showed that dynamic of the relationship early on. They had enough flashback scenes and photos and stuff that they made it like they did a good job of making you feel for a character that didn't last long, didn't have much time, and so you understood like why Jack was the way he was. Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
are the way you are.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to watching this again. I feel like this one's one that I'll probably watch a couple of times here before, in another month or two. I think it's going to be an easy one to throw on and just kind of watch.
Yeah. I already watched it twice, so
Yeah, so you're already ahead of me there. Excellent.
it was good. I just overall really enjoyed that. Solid. I'm the perfect audience for that. Like, I enjoy talk shows, and by that I do pretty much only mean Conan, but so I'm very familiar with the talk show format. So it's interesting to see a horror movie about that is just sick. In concept alone, I was sold. So
yeah, and then you get the execution of it, and you're like, "Fuck!" Like you guys really, they took time to do it right. I feel like this concept could have easily been botched, right? On paper, this sounds amazing, but execution really could have been lackluster. But I mean, it really felt like you're throwing on an old fucking VHS tape of watching some like video that was like from the 70s,
yeah, have you heard about or seen trailers for the new M. Night Shyamalan movie?
I have not. What's that one called?
Trap,
Trap. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
and it's about Josh Hartnett as a serial killer who goes to a pop star, like a huge pop star, like a fake Taylor Swift or, whatever
Yeah.
concert with his daughter, and the FBI stage a plan to capture him while he's there. Like the whole concert is an elaborate plan to catch him.
Oh,
Like
that
that's how
sounds.
they sell the movie. So
See, now that sounds fascinating to me as well. Like I love
it's
some of these
something
new
original,
concepts. Yeah,
And M. Night has some misses for sure, but like I really enjoy some of his movies too. Like Signs is phenomenal. It's my favorite movie of his. Sixth Sense is good. Unbreakable is good. Split was good. Glass not so much.
yeah. Glass is the only one that really wasn't as good there. I mean, it's got its moments, right? So, but
I really kind of just hated that one, but either way, The Happening I really enjoy for entertainment purposes, but it's not great. Obviously, it's pretty ridiculous. But
yeah, what's the one where they think they're living in the old fashioned times?
oh, The Village. That one's I actually
Yeah,
do like The Village. That's underrated. And Lady in the Water,
yeah,
underrated also. Interesting.
yeah. The Village is excellent. I remember just because at the end of that, you're like, holy shit! Like here's the twist.
Lady in the
Yeah,
Water is more like modern fantasy biblical stuff, but it's
yeah.
interesting.
Well, I just love to see people taking chances on shit like original ideas because, right? And as much as I love a lot of sequels to movies, right? Beloved IP, like take Ghostbusters, for example. I mean, look at the state of Marvel stuff, sequels and stories that are ongoing. I love that. But having a really good, fun, fresh idea to make it as a movie, like, come on now. Those are always good too.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. I like M. Night enough. I'll probably try to go see that.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know when exactly it comes out, but I've seen a couple ads for it recently, so it might be soon.
Yeah, the other interesting movie you mentioned that you just saw the ads for, and that came out last week and is already out, was the vampire movie. What's that called?
Abigail.
Abigail. Yeah, that looks good. I saw the trailer for that, like a child vampire.
It's actually basically a remake of Dracula's Daughter from 1936, is what I heard, because it's supposed to be Dracula's daughter.
Oh, okay.
And it stars, well, one of the main stars is Melissa Barrera from the last two Scream movies, who was fired. It's also written and directed, as far as I understand, by the same duo that did the last two Scream movies. So if you like those,
Yeah.
which I have issues with those movies for sure, but overall, I'm more pissed now that they're continuing without all of those people. Like it's annoying at this point because that's only relevant. Sorry, I'm going to go on a rant here real quick, but it's
Do it.
only relevant to do a new Scream movie after it's been a certain amount of time and you have new horror movie types and archetypes and things to make fun of and reference. So when you came back for Scream 5, it made sense. And then even doing Scream 6, you could argue like, okay, now we're making fun of like the Halloween kills and Halloween ends and that type of stuff. But this next one, it's just purely money, which like that's all it ever is anyway, but come on. Wait, give me I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I mean, I feel like it's tough because you for those Scream movies, you really have to have a purpose for them, right? So just fucking scrap it. You don't need to do one right now. Fucking do it later. Wait 5 years, right?
Yep. And then Tarot comes out next month too. That looks mildly interesting. Did you see the trailer for that ever?
Yeah, I did see the trailer for that. So yeah, talking about not supposed to be using someone else's tarot card deck and all that shit. Looks pretty interesting.
The Tarot monsters looked cool. Like the concept
Yeah.
of that's like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't believe in any of that shit at all, but that is one thing I really enjoy about tarot is that the artwork on those cards is fucking fascinating. There's so many styles to do it in. There's like so many creatures and things to put on them that to see everyone's take on those is usually pretty cool. I like the art for those.
I love shit like ghosts and Ouija boards and
Yeah.
tarot cards and monsters and Bigfoot and monsters and goblins.
Yeah. Like,
It's
you know who
really,
needs to do a tarot card deck is the artist that did all the Scary Stories books. Like that guy needs to do his own deck. fucking perfect.
I want to get, next time I do an altered version of our intro, I want to get a clip of Billy D. Williams from Batman saying ghosts and goblins.
Yeah.
Put that in there.
Hell yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
distracted.
No, you're good. So, I mean, as far as a fresh idea, Late Night with the Devil seems like it's the first big one. But I don't have a lot of criticism for this movie at all. And that's just having seen it once, right? I could watch it again in 6 months and, I have a few more things to take out. But the fact that a movie had me entertained all the way through, like not knowing what to expect, I really felt like I was watching an old TV tape. Really worked for me.
There's things you have to consider too, like the fact that they said this whole tape went to air essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
they couldn't have made it super gory and shit early on or anything because the network would have cut it.
Yeah,
somebody would have been like, nope, we're cutting this, done. So you wouldn't have been able to develop it as far.
No, and the fact that it's late night and like it ends on the note that it ends on, that all makes sense. Like you said, it's very well written in the fact that like it thinks these things through as it escalates, because that's what would have been allowed on TV. We're like, are they messing with us? Is this a Halloween episode? Like what's going on here?
That scene where he's like, we've had 3 of our set members walk off, and like the presidential board and people are calling and talking about the ratings and shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's the biggest TV event since the moon landing, they're saying, and shit.
Fuck yeah. That was I really enjoyed that, but makes you just want to seek out other indie horror films, like what else is going on out there. Makes you excited for movies again in a way that, I love movies all the time, but my interest in new stuff kind of ebbs and flows depending on what's coming and going. So I always love to be surprised by something like this.
I want to give stuff a go more often than I have been lately, but I've just been so fucking trying to get caught up on my life.
Yeah, like keeping up on all the new good movies and just even all the movies that are coming out in general is a commitment, right? It takes time. And so sometimes you got to pick and choose. And I'm glad I was able to catch this on Shudder because worth checking out. So if you haven't seen this, drop what you're fucking doing and go watch it on Shudder.
Yeah.
And that's not an advertisement for Shudder. That's just because Shudder has it. Like if you could buy this right now, I'd say just fucking buy it.
I think you might be able to on Amazon, but hey, I really like Shudder, so you should use Shudder. And Joe Bob Briggs show is on there. There's a bunch of different Elvira stuff, a bunch of old horror and obscure horror, a bunch of original series. There's a Cursed Films series I really like on there. Good stuff.
Yeah, and then I think they got a free week trial if you want to check it out.
And use code STRANGEGLOW. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have that. That'd be sick, though. Pay us. Get paid. I'll advertise for you, Shudder. I'll suck on the titties, Shudder.
He'll put the teat in his mouth. He'll do it for a free subscription. That's all he'll do it for.
Pretty much.
I mean, shit. I mean, we would, honestly. Shit adds up. The streaming wars, man. All right, well, that's Late Night with the Devil. Fucking awesome movie. Go check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Good night.